I'm feeling loose. Anyways, sorry, mate. Late again. You know how it is already. But I decided I'd do some meditating today. I figured it was better than sitting around doing nothing. So, what's the case, Chip?
The case is the case of Diao Aiqing.
A young street cleaner came across a parcel of freshly butchered meat in the melting frost. But after taking it home to clean, the woman was shocked to discover, among the dozens of juicy cuts, a set of human fingers. Police said they had been carefully placed in plastic sacks or wrapped in blankets, scattered in locations around the city's namesake university. The body had been sliced up and dismembered in such a careful, professional manner. Investigators believe such dispatch could only have been the work of someone who knew what they were doing. Had she trusted the wrong person to drive her home? Or was she going to meet someone on her regular walks and paid a bitter price for her privacy?
This case is from 10th of January 1996. These are awful.
I couldn't even read our notes, our research papers.
Not everyone was blessed with athletic genetics, but in any case, we have a case. A dismemberment case.
A dismemberment case.
Yeah.
By the way, we will give a warning, guys. This is
quite gruesome.
A bit of a gruesome one.
Yes.
So if you are watching this late at night, strap yourselves in, grab some popcorn, and your favorite cuddly toy, because this one is pretty grim.
Yes, and also you can now listen to the Fellas Mysteries on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So the link is going to be in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Go over there, hit the follow button, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, is it?
All of that.
Yep. Yeah. Leave us a review as well, because that actually does really help.
Big time. Give us a 5-star review, and we will be reposting the funniest reviews
on our
that you
Instagram.
guys leave. So go ahead and check that out. Anyways, time
Let's
to get into
talk.
today's case, baby. Let's talk a little bit about the girl Zhao, right? Now, she was 19 years old, okay? And she was actually quite a shy girl.
Did you know her?
No, I can't say I did know her, Chip, but we're just going off of reports here.
Yeah.
Some research done here over at the Fellows Mysteries Institute. And she came from a modest family, okay? And she actually struggled to get into university. But the good news was that she did manage to get into university. She got into the University of Nanjing University Adult Education College. Bit of a mouthful, but she got in, and that's what counts. Now, she actually hardly even spent 100 days at this university before the horrific event took place.
Oof. It started off with an argument. Now, the first claim is that she had an argument with the building's management and that she actually left the building. Now, the argument was about her roommates using up too much using electronic appliances in her dorm. She's got angry. She's left the dorm to cool down. She's gone on a walk. The second claim is that she actually had an argument with her roommates.
Okay.
The reason she had an argument with the roommates is because the building, or the management building, had decided to collectively punish the entire dorm. She's thought this is unjust, it's unfair.
Yeah.
Again, she's gone on a walk to cool down. And that's where we're at.
So the two claims different is, one, the first claim is that the argument was with the building's management.
Yep.
And then the second claim is actually no, the argument was with the flatmates or the roommates, I guess.
Those
but
are the two claims.
it was all surrounding the use of too much electricity with the appliances.
And in the end, it's resulted on her going on a walk late at night. 9 days later, on the 19th of January, an elderly woman, a street cleaner, she finds a bag with what she thought inside of it was meat. Now, she's picked this bag up. She planned to actually take this home, clean it, and eat it. Now, that does sound quite a strange...
sounds rogue to me,
Sounds like
Chip.
quite a strange situation off the bat, but first of all, she thought it was like leftover food that had been thrown out. And also, she was, from the lower class, and this was considered back then quite a luxury for them. So she's found this meat, this to her.
Meat was just valuable.
This was valuable to her. She's like, yeah, I can go home, clean this, and I can eat this for myself.
Yeah.
It's not until she's gotten to that, and what she's found in the bag is dismembered fingers, like a bunch of human fingers.
Yeah, that ain't the meat she was probably hoping for.
No, not at all.
So after that, she then goes ahead and gets the police involved, as you would. Her body was actually found in 8 different places, all located nearby the campus.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like this was all just in one bag. It was separated and dotted around the campus.
Different body parts in different bags, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, but her body was boiled, right, and cut into more than 2,000 pieces.
Who's got the time for that?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, that would take a lot of time to cut it up in 2,000 pieces. I also kind of feel bad for the person that had to then go and count the 2,000 pieces as well. That is a pretty grim
It's
job.
not a good situation.
I'm not quite sure he woke up that day,
unraveling.
walked into work, and thought he'd be counting up 2,000 pieces of human. That's pretty disgusting.
Unfortunately, he did.
Someone had to do it.
Yeah, it had to be done. So we have some forensic and police reports, and they claim that the cuts on the bones seem to be from 2 different cutting knives. The intestines were the only two internal organs that had not been boiled. And there was some key organs missing, and they were, in fact, the heart, liver, and spleen. Also, clothing intact, so maybe no violence, no, knife cutting the clothes. Was she kidnapped? Maybe a little bit of
drugged.
Yeah, drugged up.
Yeah, because you would think, especially if it was violent, there would definitely be rips in the clothes, things like that. But this seemed all pretty
like it's
well done almost.
Contained, like pre-planned. No underwear found as well.
Okay.
Bit of just thought I'd add that one in there because you never know. Obviously, she was boiled, cooked after she'd been cut up. Was this to possibly to get rid of evidence? I don't know if that's how that would work. If you're boiling the body, is certain DNA completely go?
It's definitely going to mess with things for sure. If you're boiling body parts, then definitely going to get rid of a lot of stuff that might tie you to the crime.
Yeah, and she'd also barely spent, like you said earlier, 100 days in the city. So it's kind of hard to believe that maybe she was, butchered for her personal reasons or enemies, something like that.
Yeah, we did speak about it earlier. She potentially had an argument with either the building management or the roommates, but I'm not going to lie, I just don't think that they would do something so gruesome off the back of an argument about using too much electricity.
Yeah.
It just the sort of argument doesn't really fit up with the crime, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like she's done anything terrible. She might have been annoyed, said something she didn't mean, whatever, but to retaliate with cutting someone into 2,000 pieces, that just doesn't really seem to fit. So I'm not quite sure that the argument that she had prior to leaving that night had anything to do with the actual crime itself. The police shut down the campus as you would expect. They conducted an entire search, and they found, like I said, 8 different locations with the body remains in it. They were near the main gate to the school. They found a bloody bedsheet wrapped around a severed head. Like I said, we did say this was a gruesome case, guys. In another location near a canal, they find a bloody sheet wrapped around a torso with bloody clothes folded nearby. Again, like folded. This seems really meticulous. This person was not in a rush, it seems.
It's very precise.
Yeah, very precise. A complete outfit is there, including a red coat minus the underwear, which is missing. Strangely, though, the clothes have no rips or tears, like I mentioned. So, yeah, this is interesting, and I don't know. There's a lot of theories going around. That's really like the crux of it.
It definitely has me thinking that she's been lured somewhere. She's been drugged. The way there's no panic. It seems like there was no panic, no ripped clothes, nothing, no markings like that.
And then when they've gone to put the different bags in different places, it all seemed like, first of all, they've got to find time to go to 8 different locations.
Yep.
They've also folded the clothes next to it. Shows that it's not like they've just dumped it. They're like, I need to get rid of the body quickly. Again, we mentioned it earlier, 2,000 pieces. That is not something you can't just do that in an hour or 2 hours.
That takes some time.
Yeah, and the time, and then also skill as well. I know that sounds silly, but seriously, I wouldn't recommend going and trying this, but I can imagine cutting a body into 2,000 pieces takes some sort of skill.
Yes.
Whether it be a butcher, a surgeon, something like that, maybe.
Some people claim, now before she went missing, there was 2 suspicious men walking around the university campus, and one of the men was carrying a bag similar to the one found near Zhao's body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But nothing's really come from this though, so I'm not really sure.
It's just a bit of hearsay. It's almost like a rumor,
yeah,
right?
It's a little bit like, I spotted a guy with a bag that's similar. It doesn't look like anything's come from it. No follow-up,
There was one suspect though, and he was a medical student. Again, tying into what I said about it's going to take someone with a bit of skill,
Precision, yeah.
Exactly. It was a medical student, but there wasn't enough evidence to bring him in.
Yeah.
Again, a little bit far-fetched. I mean, there's not that much information on this. It's like, okay, well, why did they bring them in? We don't really know. All we know was there was one suspect.
Yeah, and the cuts on the body were precise cuts as well.
Yeah.
Which did lead some people to believe that it had to be someone in the kind of field where you might have experience with,
Cutting bodies, cutting some sort of meat.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the butcher, surgeon.
Anything like that. Now, unfortunately, at this time, China's police are actually behind in forensic science. Okay?
They weren't up to date. They didn't have the latest tech.
Not up to date. Now, they did attempt to take blood samples, but they couldn't pull anything from the remains. And they did actually find blood that wasn't Zhao's.
Okay.
Very interesting, but even if they were able to pull that DNA, it wouldn't have mattered because in 1996, China were not using DNA tracing yet. So they wouldn't have even got anywhere.
Pain.
Yep.
But my big thing is, can they not take it now?
I mean, that is a great point.
Yeah, can they not take it now and do it? Like, surely...
Is that DNA still about?
Well, that's the thing. That's the main thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Is like, nowadays, is that still viable DNA?
Need some forensic Donnies to let us know.
To be fair, in 2020, the police in the region, they actually ended up managing to clear about 13 different cases. They managed to solve them just by going back and using the technology that they have now on those cases before. So they actually managed to solve a bunch, but this one, unfortunately, still not solved.
Maybe they're in the process right now. We hope so.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, if that was only in 2020, that's only a year ago.
Yeah, 2021 now.
Maybe some progress will be made soon, hopefully. Let's talk about some of the theories. Now, we've got one here called the Black Mass Theory, and it's based on a blogger named Black Mass. Now, in June 2008, he made some points and claims that she was a lonely person and that she, quote, must have had some hobbies. And she had a specific route that she walked home, and on that route it was made up of stalls selling films, CDs, stuff like that. Got another quote for you here. Many people have a misunderstanding that people who listen to rock or heavy metal must be extroverts and their clothing bizarre. Actually, people who listen to this music are exactly those most introverted. He then puts forward a theory that Zhao might have been drawn in by some of them stalls playing that kind of music. She's gone in, made friends.
What, like rock, goth type?
Yeah, so she's
music.
Found people that listen to the similar stuff, similar hobbies, whatever. She's been drawn in. Maybe she's made friends, maybe as far as a relationship. And the blogger actually puts forward his theory of maybe she was killed in a ritualistic manner. And then I've got a quote here, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure on this one, but his quote is, claiming her soul to keep.
So what the blogger Black Mass is essentially saying here is that because she was into this heavy metal rock goth type of music, that on her way home she sort of got tied up with someone that worked maybe at the stall or whatever, or met someone there, and it turns out that person is just some like twisted killer that because they're into rock music as well, they've gone and killed her in a really weird and, like you said, ritualistic way. That is reflective of the music she listened to. Now,
sounds like that.
It is a reach. I mean, this is a super big reach.
Just because you listen to like heavy metal rock music doesn't mean that you're like into rituals and satanic stuff like that. Maybe.
I don't know.
I guess in some of the music, they might point towards that stuff, but I don't know. He sounds like a massive reach. Yeah,
but that's the thing. There's no real evidence here except for the fact that she was into that sort of music. Like, I feel like they've skipped so many steps and they've failed to provide much evidence really as to why this would be the case. Obviously, with it being ritualistic and there being some missing organs and things like that, part of the body, did this person keep them? Were they a cannibal? Did they want to actually eat the organs and then left the bits that they didn't like? I don't really know.
Maybe.
Is that part of the ritualistic? But the theory just skips over too much stuff to the point where even I'm speculating massively now about their theory, which was already speculating massively. So I'm not the biggest fan of this theory.
If I had a cap right now, I'd put it on.
There is one behind here.
It's not a cap, son.
What is that?
It's a hat.
Next theory, the black market theory. Now, this theory came to light in 2011, and on the 9th, there was a historic event that took place at Nanjing University Medical Campus. And that event was the first ever intestine transplant done in China.
Okay.
Which is really interesting because if we remember, the intestine was the only organ that wasn't boiled, but the rest of it was all boiled, okay?
Yeah.
And what they claim was by boiling the other bits, it was actually getting rid of any trace of anesthesia, right? So by boiling it, did they kill this young girl, take that body part, and use it in this historic event, this medical thing, right? Now, another thing that sort of goes along with it that they claim supports this theory is the fact that the university never released the origin of this intestine. So they never said, oh, by the way, guys, just so you know, the one that we used in this transplant is from here. They never came out and said, so they wanted to keep it to themselves for whatever reason, okay? The claim was that the police actually shut down the investigation because they didn't want bad publicity surrounding this event, right? Now, the reason why the university might have not come out and said is sometimes it could be due to the wishes of the family of the person that it was, or maybe the person themselves said, look, you can use it, but just don't say it was from me when they pass away. Whatever it is, they didn't want to say where it was from. For whatever reason. There's probably loads of different reasons, right?
So the university was willing to kill a young girl to get her organs just for this medical historic event, you know, this transplant to go ahead. Is that not a bit wild?
It is.
Would a university let one of their students like die so they can do a transplant?
I don't actually know, but it goes a little bit deeper. And this next part of the theory is maybe I'm not too on board with, but we'll go into it anyways. Later in 2011, the brother, right, of the surgeon who performed that operation actually ended up committing suicide. And a lot of people are saying that the brother knew and that he couldn't sort of handle the guilt. He couldn't hack it. And so he killed himself. Now, I just think that it is a big reach. Like, you know, this is the brother of the surgeon. I feel like people kill themselves, unfortunately, for a wide range of reasons. And I would say that it's more of a coincidence that it was just linked to the brother of it. I think you're just trying to find stuff to make it fit in this particular scenario.
And why would they leave the rest of the body splattered around campus in different bags if you just actually wanted to harvest the organs for your event? You're not then going to go and place the whole body parts and be like, look, dead person.
Yeah, on our campus, first of all. You'd go and you'd chuck it somewhere miles away. You wouldn't, it was almost because with the 8 different things all dotted around the campus, that is someone that wants you to find it, surely. Right? Wouldn't you think? I mean, I feel like if you didn't want someone to find it, you'd put it in 8 places miles away.
Yeah, this person wanted, whoever did this crime, whoever killed this lady, wanted the police, you know, whoever to find the body parts, wanted it to be known, look at me, I did this. 2,000 pieces.
If it was this university that did it, why even bother leaving the clothes there then? Why not just dump the clothes, get rid of the clothes, burn the clothes, do whatever you need to do?
I don't like this one.
No, I don't like that. Now,
it's not my jam.
A theory as well, especially back then, was that a lot of the time what people would do is they would, it was sort of like organ harvesting. Yeah. So it was like a black market for organ selling.
Dark web.
Yeah, and this is like a serious thing.
You can sell a kidney for like
peas.
250K.
Exactly.
And you only need one.
So the main thing that we're trying to say is, did this person try to kill them, use certain parts of the body, sell that, make loads of money? I mean, you get, like you said, there's a lot of money to be made in this thing.
That's a house deposit, man.
But, mate, over there, that is a few house deposits for sure.
And I only need one kidney, right?
Well, mate, nobody wants your kidney, that's for sure. Your kidneys have been through some shit. You definitely ain't. Nobody's trying to have Chippo's kidney.
Listen, I'll do 50% off. Anyone need a kidney?
So this still ain't getting sold for 50% off.
Now, his next 2 theories are from Reddit, from a user called Love to Clarkson. And they are, they're not bad theories. We've got the killer Gao theory. Now, he was Bayan's own version of Jack the Ripper. Or that's what they called him anyway. Okay. Gao Chen-yong. And he is linked with multiple murders from 1988 to 2002. As far as police know, Gao killed and mutilated 11 women. Now, whilst he
grim.
raped and stabbed the victims to death, he actually removed the reproductive organs, hands, breasts, feet. All of his victims were women dressed in red.
Remember the red coat.
That's why I like this one. It's a little bit of a good link. Anyway, he would identify the women, stalk them, and then attack them near their homes. Now, the user does go on to say why she thinks it is very similar to what happened to the victim, Diao. But there are differences. The user says all the known crimes from this murderer occurred in Bayan, Gansu, or Batu, Inner Mongolia, which are quite far from Nanjing.
It's not close.
So it's
to
not
it.
close. So that's the first point.
But what I would say regarding that is the fact that you've already named 4 places there. What's to say he didn't just go ahead and add another place?
But
there?
my geography is not on point. Are they 4 places that are right next to each other?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Is that Shoreditch to Hackney?
Yeah, or is it Birmingham
miles
to
away? Yeah,
Dover?
Maybe, but good point from you anyway. Also, Gao was also caught through family DNA tracing and was arrested in 2016, where he confessed to 11 murders.
Right.
He was executed in January of 2019, but the user couldn't find any reporting on if his DNA was compared to the blood taken in the Diao Aiqing case. Remember, blood was pulled from the body, but at the time, DNA tracing didn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, they couldn't find anything on that, unfortunately. Maybe it's in the works. Who knows? But that is the theory.
And what's unfortunate is we're never actually going to be able to ask Gao now.
Because he's been executed.
It was executed in 2019.
But he did confess to 11 murders. Would he not confess
to that one in particular?
Maybe he thought if he confessed to one more, he might get away with not dying or being executed.
No, he did. He did.
Yeah, I know, but maybe at the time it was a case of.
No, mate, you're reaching. You're trying to link it too much, bro. You're trying to make it. It's no.
Well, if you confess to 11, would you confess to more?
Yeah, you would just confess to all of them. You know, 100%, bro. Look, if you've confessed to 11, it's not like, oh, well, the marker's 12. If you kill 12, then you're definitely going to get executed.
Yeah, okay,
Mate,
yeah.
Once you get past
I don't
1 or 2,
I don't
you're
know
on the
the
ropes.
I don't know the rules over there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 12.
No, yeah, I mean, it could have been, but I don't know.
The only main link there, I guess, is the time period and the red dress.
Yeah, the red dress is an interesting one. Not only that, but they looked at the lady as well, at night and being close to their home. She obviously left her accommodation. She was angry. She went out for a walk.
Yeah.
She never came back after that.
He stalked his victims.
She would have been close to her accommodation.
Yep, it's true. She was just on a walk.
Next theory is the Ling Chi Theory. Now, this theory is all about an ancient technique that they used to use in the early 1900s and before that as well, which was all about using 1,000 cuts, right? That was it. And you can imagine being cut 1,000 times is absolute torture, okay? And ultimately, it results in death. So we know that the body was cut into 2,000 pieces. That's obviously certainly in line with that. But the thing is, this is very much like a barbaric thing. It was used in ancient times. It was formally sort of banned in 1905. That's how old we're talking here. This isn't like a recent thing. And it was just extremely rare. This isn't something that would ever happen. I feel like what they've done is they've gone and looked to try and find, like, why is this body being cut up into 2,000 people? Oh, hold on a second. They used to cut people loads back in these times. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was like a ritualistic thing, and they tied it back into that ancient thing. But I don't know. I don't really like this Ling Chi theory, just because I feel like, again, it's a bit of a reach.
They're linking a torture method from 1905, like it's
to that
1996,
For
90
what
years
reason?
later.
And what's the motive? What's the reason for it? Where's the evidence for it? I don't know. It's not for me. It's not for me.
I'm not with that one. So I've got a quote here from Reddit. Some interesting.
It's always good to know that with anything taken from Reddit and these things, a pinch of salt is always needed.
I tell you what, I respect Reddit users. They're hustlers.
I love it.
They're grinders.
They are grinders.
They come with some good info sometimes.
Absolutely. Spin it. What we got, Chip?
Anyway, quote. As her parents travel into the city, police aren't playing around. They conduct chemical blood tests on all students known to Diao and all known offenders nearby the college. They search every stall on Market Street. They check every commercial kitchen near the college. and they conduct over 10,000 in-person subject interviews. I will say, however, that I have no idea what the range of nearby is. It could be 5 miles, could be 10, could be 50. It's just never specified in English or Mandarin. So that's a bit of info for you right there. They weren't playing. They were actually doing a good job.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, you know, me and Chip, we like to get onto the police, but it sounds like, I mean, bro, they had 10,000 in-person subject interviews. That is so many interviews.
Yeah, Chinese police weren't playing.
No, they were keen to find this. So, you know, any sniffs of corruption, I'm not too keen
It's
on.
looking like they're doing good work at the moment.
To keep you guys up to date with the latest on the case, it is important to note that the university did in fact reimburse the family with the tuition fees. Which
I really would hope so. If she's not being able to finish university.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been a bit harsh to keep the money.
That is the least you can do.
Yeah, exactly. The task force in charge of the case as well decided to quietly dissolve the case, let it just slowly die out, and then the press stopped releasing stories about the case. So they really it was a slow bleed into nothing.
Yeah.
On January 20th, the police actually came out and gave a statement, and they wanted to say that the statute of limitations, aka, if you don't know what that is in some places, once you commit a crime, they have a certain length of time afterwards to essentially prosecute the person for the crime. But what they did is they sort of waived that, and they said, look, no matter at any point that we find this person, they will pay for this crime.
Yeah.
So if it's been 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long, if we find this person, they will get punished for it. Which is good. I think so. In such a horrible crime like this,
100%.
It needs to be dealt with.
Amen. Now, the family of Zhao has launched a lawsuit against the university for failing in its duty of care of Zhao, of course.
Yeah.
The parents believe that the university unfairly punished Zhao for, her roommate's use of the electronic appliances, which we spoke about. The family is suing the university for roughly around $250,000 American dollars, funeral fees, and other damages.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, another thing to definitely note is the fact that the family, to this day, have not been given access to their daughter's body. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I can't imagine, we saw some images, there are some images floating around there that if you guys are squeamish or...
I wouldn't recommend.
I wouldn't recommend, and if you're watching this at night, certainly don't take a look at it, but, it's not nice. But it is important to note that the family haven't been allowed. There's one thing saying like, oh, actually, I don't want to see, but they should surely at least be allowed to look, and that is a little bit weird. Maybe they have their reason for it, but I'm not aware of it.
Now, another thing we should mention here is Zhao's family, obviously, as soon as she's gone missing, they should have been informed, 10th of January.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Zhao's family was notified 9 days later after the police had found the body. After they had found, mutilated body, that's when they found out. So she goes missing on January 10th.
The family didn't get notified for 9 days.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my mom
Crazy.
would flip her lid if it was even 2 days of me being missing. I would expect someone to be telling my mom, yo, by the way, your son is missing.
I know we said earlier that the police were doing good work, but that right there, that ain't good.
The family lawyer has actually come out and really just questioned the university more than anything and said, look, guys, did you fail when it came to caring for Zhao?
Yeah.
Was there, could this have been sort of stopped? Would she have been killed if the parents or the people were notified that she was missing? All this sort of, the lawyer is obviously doing their job and asking questions. And that's really where we're at with this. It is unsolved, and we'd love it for you guys to give us your theories as well.
Yes, please leave some comments below. Let us know what you think. If you've got any even extra bit of information, sometimes in the comments,
I'll
go down there and I'll find out a little key point that I didn't know about the case, and that's because you're all detectives just like me and Detective Freezy right here, who's always late.
Anyways, if you guys are new around here, you can also listen to this in podcast format. That is going to be over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and a bunch of others as well. We'll leave links down below. Go ahead and check it out. Show love, show support. And as always, guys, from the team over at the Fellas Mysteries, we will catch you guys on the next one. Laters. Ready?
Always ready, you sexy frog.